first on Everest in '84?
Yeah, my first expedition on Everest was 1984, and from looking back from today to 1984, there's a lot of changes has been on.
But you got a lot older.
Glacier, same time. Yeah, I mean, I've seen the glacier been sitting back lot. When 1984 we used to camp, it was almost 1 hour down where we are camping right now. So that between that gap, this much of glacier been seated back. Right now we camp right next to the Kumbu iceberg, but right next to what you used to be camped way low below.
Yeah, I mean, I think ultimately, I think Everest has changed a lot, not just through glacial retreat, which brings different dangers. It's just a different place. It's like mountains or the hills are constantly changing environment, and the dangers come and go with that swap. So as Lakpa was saying, where my team camps at Camp 2, we call it the ghetto. We're kind of down the hill a little bit underneath these big ice cliffs. Whereas, and Lakpa was saying in 1984 you couldn't camp there. But now the danger is that these ice cliffs could potentially fall on you. And they do crack off sometimes. You're like, ooh. I mean, the camp is pretty safe. And then I've only been there since 2004, so that has been an extra, what's that, 30 years longer?
Almost, yeah, somewhere around there.
Wow. Well, yeah, 20 years longer, but yeah, 30 years you've been going there for now almost. It'll be 30 years next year. You have a party?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great. Party at base camp. Everybody come along. If you're listening, come along. Come along next year, Lakpa's 30th year on Everest. And things have changed. Even I've seen it in 10 years that I've been going there. On the positive side, it's got a lot cleaner, I think.
Yeah, it's got cleaner.
The Dow Stephen Sherpa has been very instrumental in tidying up the mountain. Still a lot of work to do there, but that's got better. And it's got more professional in terms of commercial outfits on the mountain since I've been there, which is good. Who came up with this question? Well, first of all, I feel very flattered being called the modern face of mountaineering in the UK. I'm sure some of my peers would say something about that. But I do occupy this interesting niche that I've come from a mountaineering background where I climb for fun, I climb for me, so all over the world, with first ascents here, there, and everywhere. And now, I'm really quite commercial, obviously. And I do have this nice position whereby I can be quite vocal about commercialism in the mountains. But I think ultimately it's not just down to individuals like Russell or myself or Doug, who's got some very interesting views on things. But it's opening up the whole panel to discussion. We mentioned him before, Dow Stephen Sherpa, an English-educated Sherpa, the son of Anne Searing, a very powerful man in Nepali mountaineering. The likes of Lakpa Rita, who's been working on the mountain for 30 years, but not just in Nepal, but also in Pakistan. He also works on Rainier. He lives in Seattle now, so he's got a very good idea about what Western clients like and need, but also a very good understanding about what the mountains need and the demands that masses of people can put on the mountains. I've not been massively vocal up to now. I've been keeping my head under the radar a little bit. I do find that I kind of do this with the establishment a bit because I am commercial. Being blackballed, it feels like a little bit by certain people and certain associations because of my commercialism, and I can be very outspoken, which rubs people up the wrong way. But I'm just passionate about the mountains, and I want the best for people that go into the mountains. I want the best for the mountains and the best for those people that go there. And maybe that's commercialism, or maybe it's not. But I do like the way that you think that I'm the face of modern mountaineering. I'm not going to be able to get my head through the door. I go through sideways to get out. Negative press on Everest. I hand this one to Paul Lakpa, and it is a difficult question. But the reason why I'm going to ask you about it, Lakpa, is after the incidents on Everest this year, and also last year, the crowding on Everest, we only hear in the West what the Westerners say. We only heard what Uli and Simone and John, and I know Uli, Simone and John. I've got a lot of respect for all three of them. I consider them my friends. But I also consider the Sherpas my friends, and we never hear the Sherpa side of things. So I'm going to slate that question to you, Lakpa. I'm sorry.
Yeah, like Kenton says, I really, really respect Simone, Willie, especially Willie Streck and his partner John, the way they climb. They're one of the Willie is one of the greatest alpinist climber, and he did big solo climbing and stuff like that. But I also respect those Sherpas who are working there. They've been selected by a whole bunch of teams, and they are very experienced, and they know what they're doing and trying to laying a rope. But unfortunately, these two great group of climbers lost their respect to each other, and they agreed on what mistake they had done. Both teams agreed on what mistake they had done, and both teams agree on keep our relations as it was before, set 60 years ago, like Tenzing and Hillary, one Western climbers and one Sherpa climbed that Everest hand to hand together. So we want to keep the relation same as it is. And they hug each other, shook a hand, and then we offer a kata, which is a traditional Sherpa way to give a kata, which is white scarves. So we offer those scarves to both teams. But all of a sudden, next day it comes up in media, and it left there a big question mark whether it is going to be less trustless between Sherpa community and Western community, less respectful among them, stuff like that. But I think in talking about a lot of the Sherpas, including Western climbers, I mean, instead of negative point, I found a lot of positive point, and I'm pretty sure it definitely will not affect future climbs. Definitely, it's not going to happen. Stuff like that again.
I think it's just a really unfortunate thing. In a year that should have been a celebration, the 60th anniversary.
Yeah.
So much to celebrate, so much to do, and there was this incident on the mountain, which was a lose-lose situation. I've spoken to both sides. I know both sides quite well. We will probably never find out exactly why it became the incident that it did, but you kind of need to put that behind you. And I think it's quite indicative of the press, that the press like to sensationalise things. It was almost business as usual a couple of days later at base camp. I spoke to John Griffiths only the other day, and John's still quite bitter about it. He did feel like his life was threatened. But I'm just annoyed sometimes that the press, I think it's indicative of the UK a little bit, it picks up on all the bad things. Because the great things were happening I mean, the guy that was there this year to try and raise funds for Red Nose, the BBC Red Nose thing. I did my Himalayan Triple Crown. Uli wanted to go there to do something really amazing. And no one picked up on that. I mean, Uli went home a broken man because his dream had sort of evaporated. Perhaps he could have stayed. I just think it's a shame that Everest has become this sensationalized mountain, because it is just a mountain. But it's not just a mountain, it's the mountain, it's the Sherpa mountain, it's Sagarmatha, it's Chumulunga, it's the mother goddess of the earth. It's a mountain that deserves respect. You should be proud and privileged to be allowed to climb on her flanks. And when this thing happens, it's a total disrespect by all parties on the mountain. I just think that's sad, and I really hope that we never see anything like that again anywhere in the mountains, because that's not what the mountains are about. The mountains are about friendship, trust, compassion, romance, and all of those things that go, testing human endurance. All these things in the melting pot is not about conflict, and it really saddens me. And I really hope that the media, and especially the climbing media, move on, because all of a sudden I see there's a film that's just been released, the Rock Reel Tour, and it almost sensationalizes what happened on it, And I just think that's so sad, because that's not what we climb for. That's not what Everest is about. It's not what she deserves. I just think I found the whole thing really sad. It really upset me, and I know it upset a lot of Sherpas as well. And it upset John, Uli, and Simone at the same time. Everybody lost.
Yeah.
A real shame. Real shame. Rescue services at 8,000 metres. Well, essentially, in a nutshell, they don't really exist. In so much you can't call a helicopter. Simone has been quite instrumental in long lining from extreme altitudes. I think the record might be 7, 8. No, he's managed to long line somebody out from on Annapurna. Yeah, it's getting pretty high now. Stripped down B3 helicopters with a line coming out from underneath, and it pretty much is a snatch rescue. They were coming with a chopper with a line on, and in, thing, and off. But the conditions have to be absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, it's at the max ceiling of the helicopters. They're straining. So if you take that out of the equation, a rescue above 7,500 metres. I know Lakpa's been involved. Quite famously in '96, you were involved with Beck Weathers.
I've been involved in a couple of rescue above South Col. Actually, one rescue above South Col, which is 2005, I believe, or 2008. One of the Nepalese women was left behind.
No, is that one that Dave Hahn was involved in?
Dave Hahn and myself brought her down, but yeah, like Kenton says, I think it's pretty hard to do a rescue above on an 8,000 meter peak.
Just being at 8,000 metres is dangerous, whether you're climbing or not, just even existing.
Yeah.
I mean, I was involved, 2010, with bringing Benita Norris down after she quite badly hurt her back on the Hillary step.
Yeah.
But it's incredibly difficult. And I think climbers and Sherpas, Western climbers and the Sherpa climbers need to understand that by agreeing or by making a decision to go to high altitude, if something does go wrong at 8,000 metres, it compounds very quickly, and the likelihood of effective rescue of somebody that is critically injured is slim.
Yeah.
It's one of the few places on the planet, maybe the depths of the ocean, but it's one of the few places on the planet where you really do feel quite out on a limb. You can be going to Antarctica and you can hit a personal location beacon and they can get a plane to you. No matter where you are, they can get people to you very quickly. North Pole, deserts, just think of anywhere on the planet, but not at 8,000 metres. 8,000 metres, it's dangerous place. It doesn't always work. Despite all the new kits and lightweight this and better helicopters, it's still
very tough.
Very tough. Very tough. How do you see what I did climbing the three mountains?
Okay.
Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? And I know that if you did it, you'd go 1, 2, 3. You do it in no time.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, climbing 3 peaks in season is one of the biggest achievement Kenton has done it. A lot of people been thinking about doing it. I believe 1 or 2 people did Everest and Hotse combo, but no one was able to do all 3 in season. So, which is one of the biggest achievement has set so far, I think, in climbing history, doing all 3 peaks in season.
I think you're being quite kind, because I know you would have done it quicker and easier.
Where do you think it sits?
Where do I think it sits? I just think I was really lucky. I don't think it really sits anywhere. It was. I tried talking to somebody yesterday about it from Trail magazine, and I think Simon really hit it on the head. It was. I've always been to Everest for commercial reasons, a bit like you. I've always been there for work. my client hadn't turned up for personal and business reasons. And for the first time ever, I was allowed to climb on Everest for fun. And that's what it was. And I think too much these days, people get hung up on climbing things for the wrong reasons. It happens, we see it all the time. And I think that's a shame, because at the very core, the very essence of why we do these things is because we enjoy it. And we go into the hills, we go climbing, we go walking, we go hiking, we go mountaineering, because we're looking for fun, we're looking for enjoyment. And that's what my Everest Triple Crown turned into be. I really enjoyed it. Does it sit anywhere? I don't think it needs to sit anywhere. Is it a big achievement? I mean, I steal this from Alex Lowe, who famously once said, did you know Alex?
Yeah, I know.
Alex Lowe once said, he was asked in an interview, who is the best climber in the world today? And he very simply said, the best climber in the world today is the climber having the most fun.
Yeah.
And I think that's exactly the same. Uli Steck's just done Annapurna, and we were talking about Uli yesterday. We both know Uli really well. We've got a lot of respect for it. Some friends of mine, Sandy Allen and Rick Allen, climbed the Mizzino Ridge on Nanga Parbat, the really long ridge. What I would like to see perhaps is the immense power and strength of people like you, because without a shadow of a doubt, the Sherpa people are more powerful at high altitude. That is without question. And it would be fascinating to see very technically competent, driven Sherpas in the high mountains, because I think they would be able to do quite incredible things. Because the Sherpas genuinely have been there to help the likes of me and Western expeditions, because they've never had the opportunity. And I think, I mean, you see Lakpa working in the mountains. I know you're going to go all red, but you see Lakpa working in the mountains, or Dorji Gelgin, the guy that I work with a lot. They're powerhouses. You guys are so strong in the mountains. But the Sherpas have never had the drive to go into the mountains. It's kind of driven by the Western climbers. And I think if you got somebody like Lakpa who really wanted to climb, and I'm not saying that Lakpa, you do want to climb mountains, but if he was given the opportunity, then I think we would see something very special. Certainly in terms of endurance and things that require real strength, endurance, and power in the mountains.
So do you think that's going to happen, Lakpa? Are you going to go climbing for pleasure?
Like Kenton says, so far until today, most of the climb I did was for my work. I mean, I've been doing this for a living, but if I get an opportunity, definitely I will do a lot of my own climbing too.
Perhaps we can go K2 together.
Probably go K2.
Get Dave involved. There's three of us go around and all climb as equals. Apart from you would have a bigger rucksack. You'd be carrying all my spare stuff. There's only way I can keep up.